football, it's not a lot of teaching that from me. He's seen the coverages. He's run all the similar plays that I'm used to running in Gruden's system, and all those things. So when we're talking the same language. And so, time on task and things like that, that'll happen. It'll happen quick because we're two veteran guys. Game reps is obviously the most important thing, but, being able to communicate, hey, how do you see this? Hey, how do you see that versus this coverage? How about this? We've talked about a lot in just a couple of days. We've talked a lot before that, but a lot just in person in the last couple of days that we're on the field as things come up that, if he went out there and ran certain routes right now, I know exactly what he's going to do and I put it on, that kind of stuff. So it's just cool to have him in the building. I know everyone was excited to see him. Everybody loves him here. They love his work ethic. They love his competitiveness. His leadership, the way he plays, the way he practices, he prepares. And I think that's from just on the outside looking in. He's such a worker that that's probably why sometimes injuries happen when you play that hard and work that hard, and you don't ever ask a guy like that to tone down. You have to keep going as long as you can. And so just being around him, like I said, you talk to him on the phone, you feel like you can win a football game with just you two out there. And being around him now, he just brings that energy about him that you feel the same way.
And how much did you all talk back before? Like didn't you say you talked to him during the kind of recruitment process?
Oh yeah. The recruitment process. He was very important. I want to know where his mind was and what decisions he was making. Because that mattered to me. So I remember sitting here for the first time, being a Saint, and flash forward to now, it's a lot of time has gone by, but I couldn't wait till he got in the building. You know what I'm saying? And because there was a big part of my decision was Mike Thomas. That guy, just his mentality alone. The injuries, it's football. Injuries are 100%. They're going to happen. And he's. I think we can all agree he's someone that dominates recovery. He's not someone that's going to cut any corners or anything like that. And so you trust that he'll be as ready as he can be. But the football player and the mentality, that's the thing that I fell in love with him. I sat there on the phone, and I remember 2, 3 days, 4 days after we were on the phone, I just kept telling my wife, I just love that guy. I love his mentality. How do you not want to play football with that guy? And so having him in the building has been nice. But yeah, we talked a lot, beforehand, and especially in the recruiting process. He was asking me, "We make a decision yet?" I was like, "Not yet, Mike." Not yet, Mike. A couple more things to do, but it was good.
Derek, was today the first time you were on the field? I know you talked about wanting to build chemistry with these new receivers. How has that relationship kind of evolved? I assume pretty quickly with him today.
You're saying with Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with Mike. Just the last couple of days, just talking on the football field. Because now I've never say I've learned it, but I'm pretty far along in where I feel like I was, and knowing the system and things like that. And you never want to feel like you have it all figured out, but feel confident with where I'm at. So now we're talking the same language. I'm not saying, hey, this is like what I used to. We're saying the same words, and I'm asking the right questions, and he's giving feedback, and I'm not so prideful to say, well, you were successful on this route or this thing with Drew. Like, tell me, what did he say to you? What was he looking at? I got no pride here. I'm trying to win. I don't care. Who's right. I care what's right. And Mike is sharing information. Same thing. When Tay would run this and do it like this, I'm used to that. How do you see it? I want to. I'm putting it all together. Those algorithms in my brain are just trying to connect wires. To make us successful and this organization successful. So it's been very, very helpful that he's been here, and I'm really thankful that he's been here.
So when was the first time that you actually threw to him? Was it today, or no, you said it?
I threw to him yesterday. I threw to him yesterday. I threw to him today. I think there was. You guys saw that today a couple times. We were working on stuff and things like that. So there's nothing again like practice reps, but nothing really like game reps. We're gonna do I'm gonna do my best to make sure that I'm as efficient and ready as possible for the game reps with these guys in this system. But there's nothing like those game reps or those live practice reps that you can get with each other.
Derek, the things we see, like when you throw the pass to Olave again in the red zone to go over it again, would that look like any OTA you've ever had before, or some of that new teammate stuff?
Which one?
Like when you throw the pass in the drill,
when
you
I throw it
guys
again.
communicate and you throw it again.
Oh yeah, if we ever miss something, like I don't care if it's pass interference, which, you know what I mean, like, it might have I like Doug Trent. You know, like, no matter what, if we don't hit it, especially, you probably won't see it a lot, but during the season, you know, training camp, you know, we're trying to get all the reps in, there's a lot of time restrict, all that. But if I can try and fit it in right then, I'd try and get that rep again. So that's just something I've always done. If I can't do it right then, it's after practice. I already, the wideouts know, if we miss anything, you know, if there's something, I want you to remind me after practice, because I'm going to be there to work. Come find me, and if, you know, a young guy forgets, I'll throw it to somebody else, you know. But it's getting those reps again to where it just, nope, I feel perfect, I feel great about it. So then on Sunday, no, I've done it, I've already done it, I've already corrected it, you know. And again, you try and complete them all, which has never been done, you know, but you try your best to do it. And so it's always striving for that perfection is what I believe in, and knowing that you'll probably never get there, but you're gonna wake up every morning and try.
Anything with Chris Olave in particular that he's conveyed to you that he really wants to work on that you guys have worked on a lot?
You know, the one thing that's overwhelming with him is, even if, you know, on that ball, you know, the guy, you know, grabbed him, slowed him down, he's like, I gotta get that. It's like, it's never like, oh man, if you throw it like this, or he's like, he always feels it. I'm like, no bro, I'm gonna put it, you know, I'm gonna throw it like this, or I'm gonna do this, you know, but he is always so like, he wants to make every play. If you even throw it in his vicinity, he feels there should be a way he should get. And that mindset that comes from him, that comes from, you know, TQ, it comes from Mike, Jawan, you know, all these guys, when you talk to him, it's the culture that's been built here that I talked about was so attractive to me that when I walked into the building, I just get to be me, you know. I'm not trying to build a culture or fix, you know, droughts and things like that. Like I don't have to worry about that. Like they've been successful without me. You know, I just get to be here and be me, and you can tell with the mindset of all the guys that they bring in here that they all work and think that way. And it just, when you're like-minded like that, it just makes things easy. You know, it's not like, hey, all right, you know, let's go work on that again. Let's go do it again. Like you saw when the ball hit the ground, he threw it back to me. He didn't even, there was no question. He knew he was gonna throw it back. I was gonna throw it to him again. Yeah. So that's just something that, you know, I've always tried to do.
Derek, did you play a lot in the preseason with the Raiders, and the fact that you're on a new team, will that change your preseason preparation as far as maybe trying to play a little more in games to develop a little chemistry with these guys?
Yeah, for me, you know, this will be 10 years of, you know, football and live bullets, and so I haven't played much in the preseason before. I think maybe with Gruden, 1 or 2 total series in 4 years. There were some, you know, times that I didn't play at all in the preseason, and we'd still, you know, play good in the first couple weeks. So it proved to me that, you know, if you practice the right way and you do things with those like joint practices, I don't know if we have them or not, but whenever you have those, like those are better than preseason reps, because they actually show stuff. You know, they show the pressures, they show different coverages rather than what they show in the preseason. You know, and so that's just how it's been. Now, if they want me to play, I'm not against playing. Anytime I have the opportunity to put that jersey on, and it's a blessing to walk out on that field. So if they need me to play, I'll play. You know, you want to play 30 plays, I'll play 30 plays. You want to play a whole half, I may question. No, I'm just kidding. But I'll play. You know, it's like I'm never gonna, you know, feel like I don't need it. You know, if you need me to play it, I think the coaches will probably want to see me, you know, throw a couple in their jersey. You know, so we'll see. We haven't even talked about it, if I'm honest, but if I play, awesome. If not, we'll make sure we're ready to go on week 1.
Derek, I just want to make sure I heard you. Did you say Mike brought examples of stuff you did with Devontae and how? No,
like Mike, I would ask Mike like questions like, how did Drew, you know, and he'd bring up like, hey, Drew would say, I like it like this. Do you like it like that? And my example was like, you know, hey, Tay would do it like this. How do you see it? And it's not like one's better than the other or anything like that. You're just like, you're throwing it all out there to get on the same page. You know, that this is my experience, what's your experience, and how do we make that coexist, kind of thing.
And with Mike, you know, beyond the intangibles, which you've clearly grown to like, what was it about his, before you came here, his observable skill set during games that made you feel compelled to really investigate the opportunity to play with him?
Yeah, he's violent route runner. You know, there's a few guys that are like that. I won't start naming them because people get offended. You know, but you know, there's very few guys that run such violent routes and catch the ball and get back downhill. Like a lot of guys like to catch that ball and dance around. Like he gets north and south. you know, like he turns what should be 2nd and 5 into 2nd and 2, you know, and that right there changes the football game, you know, and you know, to the naked eye, it's just another slant, or it's just another this route, or it's just another over, but it's not, you know, he catches it, it's just another stick route, but what he's doing after the catch, what he's doing, you know, when he's rolling, what he dictates, you know, coverages, you know, you have to account for him, you know, because he's so talented, he's so aggressive at the catch point, you know, when, even if he is covered, you can still throw it out there and he can body him up in his hand, he extends his hands, strong hands, he's a bigger receiver, so you can trust him with those kind of throws as well. The back shoulder throws, he can win over the top and catch those, you know, late hands, and you know, those are the things that as I was watching the film, like, very attractive, you know, to me, especially when you get all the pieces going, you know, and you add them all and they're all healthy and they're all there, you know, it's what it could be. Sounds fun, you know, it's not, we're not there yet, but it, you know, sure sounds exciting, you know, when you think about it.
Derek, what have been your early impressions of working with Eric McCoy at center?
Man, smart. He's very smart. You know, the first couple of times I could tell, you know, we'd get up there, we'd break the huddle, and he's making Mike points. I'm like, all right, you got that one. We'll let you, you know, cause I'm just used to making the points and all that kind of stuff. But you could tell that, like, at least he's right, you know. You know, he knows it. He's smart. I sent him a clip. I don't even know when it was. It was right after I signed, I think. Some point I was watching film, and I sent him a clip of him running 40 yards down the field to make a block, and I just said, bro, this is so beyond impressive. If we get everybody to play like this, if we can lead everybody and teach everybody to play with that kind of effort, you know, it'll be a special place. You know, it'll be a special time, I should say. And that's just something that just stuck out to me because it wasn't just one time. Then I watched another play that's happened. I was like, I'm not gonna text him 18 times, you know, but like it's like every time this guy plays so hard and he's so smart and he snaps the ball good. So that's always a plus when those little change ups, not the high heaters, you know, those little change ups are nice. So he's perfect snaps. You know, don't want to put pressure on him. Don't tell him I said that, but you know, he's, you know, very impressive player. You know, he's a Pro Bowl caliber player. You know, you see the talent, you see the smarts, and now, you know, hopefully we get some, you know, wins so those guys up front can get recognized like they should.
When all three quarterbacks were working with Mike one-on-one, I feel like you don't see that much in the middle practice. Like, did you guys request that to get more time with him?
Yeah, so like I was going over certain plays, like just new plays for me, and just getting used to throwing all those reps, and so he was spotting up those routes for me, just where he would be, and then that's the same spot. So also he could come out of the break and see, you know, it's funny to say, but not all quarterbacks throw the same type of ball. You know, some come out a little different. You know, the spin is different, so just so he can get used to, you know, catching those things from all different kind of route and angles and things like that.
Oh, this is our first time talking to you since Gruden came, and I just wondered if you could briefly kind of summarize how he influenced the way you play and what were the possible benefits of having him visit briefly.
I can't express enough, you know, how much I love, you know, Coach Gruden. You know, he's family to me. You know, when all that, you know, stuff happened, it was hard. It was hard for me because you know, you're mad, you're frustrated, but you know, you still stop loving him. You know, I love that man and what he's meant to me in my career. Played my best football with him, and you know, I admire him. You know, I've seen him around his kids. You know, I've seen him around Sydney. You know, his wife. You know, I know who he is. You know, and I, you know, love him deeply like family. So, you know, I can't express to you how much he means to me. You know, and how hard of a time that was for me when all that stuff was happening. So, you know, the fact that I got to see him again, you know, give him a hug, like it was like, you know, he's saying, "Sir, I'm finishing this sentence," you know, all this kind of stuff. It just comes back just like that. You know, he's like, "What was this play?" And I can spit it out just like it was yesterday. You know, it's like, you know, you know, what could have been. You know, you think about those times. You know, what could have been and all those kind of stuff. But thankful to be here, and I'm thankful that I got to see him, you know, wearing our colors. You know, it was neither of us thought a couple years ago that we'd be doing that, but here we are, and you know, it's pretty special to have him around. You know, to have, you know, a couple of my head coaches, DA and Drew, in the same rooms also, because they both know me, and you can hear them just, you know, communicate and, you know, things like that is pretty cool.
How much does you talked about, like, with Michael Thomas, nobody's right, nobody's wrong, just kind of what do you what can Gruden do in the room with you and Pete and just kind of ideas that y'all bounce off each other? How does that work?
Yeah, like all speed option, triple option, wing tee. No. You know, it's just another great football mind. You know, and I just thought it was cool. Like, you know, I've always believed this. You know, Coach Olson, you know, Greg Olson taught me this. Ole, I was gonna say Ole. I didn't know if y'all know that. But Ole always said to me, he's like, and I always say it, it's like it's not about, you know, who's right. It's about what's right. And so anytime you can just gain more information. If you throw 100 things at me, but only one thing stick, well, one thing got me better, you know. And so, you know, having all those minds in the room, it's just cool to listen and just have that football communication, that talk. When you're in a room with people that love the game the same way and see it the same way, you know, a lot of people love football, but not everybody sees it the same way. You know, trust me. You know, we don't all see it the same way. But when you do see it the same way, it's fun to be in that room because I feel like that everyone can be at their best. You know, everyone's ideas make sense to each other. Everyone's receiving, you know, ideas, even if it's new. And it was just cool to just sit there and enjoy the time. You know, enjoy being around each other.
You were obviously upset when all the stuff happened with Gruden a few years ago. Did it take you two a long time to get back to kind of how you're saying now, back on the same page?
You know what, I tried my best. You know, we had a lot going on. You know, if you didn't know, everyone could look up that season. We had a lot of stuff happen, and with our football team. And my mentality with all of it, from a football aspect, was nobody cares. You know, nobody cares what I'm dealing with. Nobody cares what just happened with our team. We got to go win football games. So I really didn't get time to process anything. But during that, I was like, you know what? I have two choices. I can either be mad about it or I can choose to love them. And yes, I can be mad at certain things that were said or certain things that were done or decisions that were made. But at the end of the day, it didn't really matter. Like, my choice was I was going to love them because if no one else was, I was going to love them. If nobody else was going to love them, no one else was going to put their arm around them, I'm going to be the one that put my arm around them because maybe 10 years down the road, they remember that and I can help them somehow, you know. And, you know, I'm not just talking about Gruden, there was a lot of stuff that was happening. So, so for me, like, after games, like, I remember I threw a touchdown on a certain play against the Eagles, and me and Gruden were neighbors, and I came home and he was still living there at the time, and I walked over to his house and I was like, hey, that was your play, T96, blah, blah, blah. He was like, what? And, you know, you could see it's just the emotion on his face, you know. I wanted him to still feel a part of it, you know, because I wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for him. And so I just tried to, even when things aren't perfect, you still try. At least I try my best to continue to love, you know, the people that I'm called to love, you know, and give them everything that I have. And so it didn't necessarily change. I just knew that he wasn't my coach, you know, at that time anymore, and that was hard.
Were you involved at all in the decision for him to come in, or was that something? I mean, did they talk to you at all? Did you know he was coming in?
They had mentioned it.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, do you like him? You know, like, you know, but that was all DA and the coaching staff, like, and Mickey and those guys. Like, that wasn't me. You know, I mean, it makes sense. You know, I played my best football for him.
Right.
You know, so if anybody, trust me, I spent a lot of time with him, and so if anybody knows me, knows things about me that I don't know, he would know it. You know, him and Ole and Johnny Moe, they would know out of anybody in the world. So, you know, those guys, because of it was the most recent also.
Right.
You know, I've grown so much since a few years before that, you know, so, you know, I think that would, from a football aspect, just trying to get, you know, that next step. You don't want to start down here, you know, what's another step we can take on understanding Derek during a game? They can ask questions that I can't answer. You know, how's Derek react after this, or how's he do? You know, I can't. I'm gonna think I'm gonna answer it right, but Guru will tell the truth. Good. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a good one.